it up some, all the way to the top. Okay. This star, these people, so-called star people, knew there was a star in the constellations. This is the god, this is an Egyptian god, Anubis. He's a god of the opening of the way. And it's more like a god that prepares, the god of embalming, and he prepares your soul to go into another dimension. Give me another star. The actual stars. Well, anyway, I'll just go into this.
Okay, I'll be looking for this starts off.
Okay, just put that back up here. Sirius mission. Now, they told the first people to come and to visit them that they knew of a star. In the constellation, you have the star Sirius, which is the brightest star in the constellation. And this star, the ancient Egyptian knew this star as the life giver to the Nile. This star would come and it would rise the Nile, give life to the Nile Valley, because the Nile is the blood vessel to the world. So this star would rise every July 23rd. It's called the Hero Horizon of Sirius. It was also 3,000 years ago. I think it was June 21st. This star would rise, and this star would give life to the Nile Valley. It's called the inundation of the Nile, where the Nile would rise. And this would give life to Egypt because they could plant their crops. It was just like when the Nile rise, it was a big irrigation. And in the winter, because you can't tell winter months in places in Africa and all. So in the winter months, this thing would go down, and in the time when it wasn't risen, they would go and build temples and different things. But when the farmers and all of this would get their agricultural basis, when it would rise, their irrigation, when the star would rise. So this star is actually giving life form to our earth. Since the Nile Valley is the cradle of civilization, this star is actually giving life form to our earth. It was very important. And so, this is a picture. Now, I'm going to explain this, and I want you to move the other one up a little bit. Just move it up some. So I want to get both of them. Okay, now go down. Then right in there. Now, that the Dogon people told what you call them, anthropologists or archaeologists, or just plain old astronomers or plain old devil explorers. They told them that there was a star in the constellation that orbited the bigger star, the brighter star, which is the brightest star in our constellation. They said that you couldn't see it, but they knew it was there. So, they figured that that's a group of Africans that's just talking. So later on into this century, when they developed a telescope to photograph it, and this is a photograph of it, they knew that these people were right all the time, because this is the Dogon star right here. That is, something is on their monuments or their writings suggesting that this is the star. This star is called a dwarf nova, and it's a star that's burnt out, but it's a star that weighs, I think a matchbox full weighs about a ton. It's the heaviest matter in the universe. And it's called Sirius B, which you can't see. They said, well, how did these people know this? You see, there's a guy, Carl Sagan, says that some white people gave it to him. Some French white people came in and gave it to him. You see, anything to snuff out African genius. Now, if I say, sometimes some people say, well, that's just racist. Sometimes I think it's more than just racist. I think it's a conspiratorial effort on this, because these people know everything, because they got our own papyrus and all of our knowledge in the museums and in libraries all over the world. So these people know what time it is. It's just that we don't know what time it is. So, go to the, no, well, okay, I'll just talk on this one now. Anyway, there is a Sirius C, which is the third star. And did I bring this? So I told you Sirius A is the brightest star on the planet, and this is one of the few that I didn't Xerox. I drew it out to explain. This is Sirius A, the brightest star in the constellation, in the next solar system, which is the Sirius solar system. and in the brightest star in our sky. This is Sirius B, which is the star, the white dwarf star that they so-called just detected a couple of years ago. And the Dogon told them that there is a Sirius C. This is Sirius B, Sirius A, Sirius B. This is Sirius C. The Dogon said there's a Sirius C, and some white astronomers by the name of Fox saw it in 1926, 1928, and 1929, and never saw it again. And so now they said, since they didn't see it again, they say, well, it probably wasn't never there because the white man can't prove it. You know, he's saying that, hey, it doesn't exist. You see, he has the power to define and make it stick. Anyway, they said this Sirius C is the planet of woman. See, then that's the red name. What we're talking about, and we're talking about all this Apple and all of this, the female principle and the female goddess. And they also said that this planet, this star, is a star that so-called our ancestors go to when they die. Now, I want you to get the hieroglyphic for Sirius. Okay. They said that it's a star that our ancestors go to when they die. The big hieroglyphic. Well, we can do that. In Kemet, they said the same thing. They would say that when we die, our spirit or our soul would go to another constellation called Sirius. Asoptis is the Egyptian word for it. Asoptis. Now, I want you to pull this up a little bit. Push it up a little bit because I want to show them. Right here, you would always see this located in the death chambers of pharaohs and nobles. And right here, you see this is the birth chamber. This is the birth part. And you know it's the birth part because we have the god Apis right down here. You understand? And this is the whole thing that goes in birth. Right in here is the life. It's just like a tombstone where you have when you're born, you have that slash, and then you have when you expire. Well, this is the life form. Because you notice you see a cartouche right in here, or a chinook. This is saying the life of whoever that king or queen was, or whoever that person was. And pull it down some. And right up in here is the heavenly body. You have the goddess Isis, which is represented as Sophis, which is represented as Sirius. She's a representation of the Sirius, which is that Sirius constellation. You have her hide in the rest of these, and right up here with all these stars, right in here you have it cleaning out, and right up in here you have the hieroglyph for Sirius. You see? So it's showing you from birth all the way to where you end up. Now, if our ancestors said, we must, to get out of this mess, we must believe what our ancestors say. You understand?
You want this?
They put that one on. Here's another one at the temple of Manet Hedu, where you have the birth, and whatever. This would probably be the life form. And up here you would have the same thing